Hello everybody, welcome to Evil Ted Live. If you're watching this on YouTube, this is from my live stream on twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith. In today's episode, if you guys watched the last video I've done, I made the gun from Vampire Hunter D. This is Leila's gun. In today's episode, we're going to make a holster. And of course, what am I make the holster out of? Of course, foam. And what kind of foam? That would be TNT Cosplay foam. What we're going to do is we're going to pattern this out and kind of figure out how we're going to make this fit into a holster. So if you guys are ready, you know I am. Let's get started. Now, in order to do that, you have to have the gun, which comes in handy, which I have right here. I got some brown paper, some brown thick butcher paper I got from Home Depot. I like this paper because it's a little bit thicker quality. I would normally use poster board, but I've used it all up today, so I don't have any poster board in stock. But what we're going to do is I realize this holster, I'm kind of plotting things out, and it's going to wrap. In the original anime, this thing kind of, the whole gun kind of slides in here, and you see a little bit of the handle. But I like if the holster had the trigger and this showing. I think it would be nice. So we're going to do that instead. I'm going to do something really old-fashioned. I'm going to measure it. You're like, what? I know. I'm going to take some measurements. I like these plastic rulers, and I just make a mark on the plastic ruler with a Sharpie. And the cool thing is that it stays on there. And if I ever want to just take it off, I just take a little bit of alcohol and wipe it right off. I didn't think about when I cut this, I should have thought about this, because the holster it doesn't have a flat bottom, it tapers, and so I need to compensate for the taper. But let's go ahead and plot this out, and if I always want to add paper, I can just make it into the, let's go ahead and plot this out first. Let's figure this out, so, like that. Take a look at this, wrap it around. All right. Hold on, I have an idea. Let's decide for a second. What we're going to do is I'm going to cut a very thin strip of my 6mm TNT Cosplay foam. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm going to use this as a measurement. Here's our gun, and I'm going to start from here. I think we're going to be safe enough to do. Remember, let's cut this. I got an idea. Hold on. Let me do a bevel on this. Because I'm going to glue these together, but I want the edge to be kind of tapered, like folded leather. So I'm going to taper it, wrap it, the thickest part of the gun, come back around. And I think I'm going to be safe right here. That's actually perfect, okay? Make my mark. There. Now, this is my length. I know this is going to be the length, so now I measure this, get my plastic ruler. That's what I always do. I get lazy. I just take, because I'll make the mark and I'll forget what it is, so I just take a Sharpie on my plastic ruler, make a mark on my plastic ruler with my Sharpie mark. Therefore, I know exactly what I got here. Go to my paper pattern. Now, what I do is I go ahead and make my mark right here. Let's square that up. Now, I'm going to fold my pattern to where this falls exactly where the line is. We're going to trace that like that. Okay? Now we've got this. So, in theory, my paper pattern, this will be in foam. I'll wrap it, and I'll close it around this big gun. But my biggest concern is right now, where's my piece I made? Hold on. This is a made out white poster board. This is my spacer. And what this spacer is I realized that when this gun goes in the holster, I need to have space for the gun to slide in. So I figured out the width and the taper of what I wanted. So, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this spacer I have and cut this out of the 6mm foam. So when I wrap the foam, when I cut this piece and wrap it, this will keep the foam from touching, so I'll be able to have the holster slide in. Matter of fact, instead of me talking about it, I'm going to just show you what I'm doing here. Okay. Okay, we got that cut out. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to take the barrel. I just pushed it so I could see the barrel, where the barrel falls. It's going to cut a plug out. All right, now we have this base. This is the bottom piece to hold everything in place so the foam won't wrap around the gun so much. We have that figured out. Now, on this pattern that's going to wrap around this, it's not going to be big enough. We have our foam strip here again. Let's do this measurement again. Yep, look at that. See what happens? This fell short. We're 2 inches short from our original length that we cut. So the next step is I'm going to go ahead and trace this out and make changes, but I like the overall patterns here. So we're just going to trace this and just add 2 inches and add an inch half of that, and we'll go from there. I got a little bit longer. Let's plot this out a little bit better. I have the gun. This is going to wrap. The reason I extended this is I want to have, it does come up, but let's find, anyway, I got a better idea. Let's find the center real quick here. Take it. Fold it. Now, like this, we'll come up. We're going to cut this one side here. Like that. So on this side, now that we realize this, the holster is going to fall, I have the center for this. This is going to be where the belt comes up. So I would like, and add, let's do a belt. Let's do it. I like the width, I actually like the width of this. There we go. If we do that, I want to add that to this. Now, in theory, this all wraps. We do not need this. This comes down. All right. Now we have our pattern. I'm going to put this together. I realized to make sure this all lines up properly, I'm going to have my registration marks. I have my notch cutter. Let's go ahead and do that, shall we? Let's go like this. Here. We got our 6mm TNT Cosplay foam. We're going to trace this out. Now, when I go to cut this pattern out, the one thing I'm definitely going to do is I'm not going to cut these at 90-degree angles. I'm going to cut these at a bevel. Now, the reason is I'm going to cut this at a bevel because I want the piece to taper like this when they're together. So I'm trying to give the illusion that it's a piece of leather that was heated, like weathered and soaked and stitched. So I'm going to kind of create that look. And on the edge of the holster, I'm going to cut a bevel in here to give the illusion that the foam is actually thinner. So if you always want, sometimes when you cut foam at 90, you can see how thick it is, but to give the illusion that something's actually thinner, you just cut a bevel cut into it. But up here, we'll do 90. Cutting bevel, bevel. This is where it gets exciting. This is going to wrap around my gun, which I feel pretty confident about. This is great. I just have to, this guy right here. And what I do is I made this so this will prevent the gun being completely squished. I just got to find out where I want this, where I want to put this in so it stays in here. Yeah, see, this is already, this right here, this space above the sight, that's way too tall. Let's go ahead and trim this down. All right, we got this. Let's go ahead and trim this up. Now, I'm going to trace. To show you what I just did, I made a mark and did a mark, registration mark, so I know it's going to fall exactly there. So we're going to start the glue here and work our way up. All right, I put on 2 thin coats of Barge. It looks pretty good. I got my spot with my marker. I'm going to start with that right here. So I know first I get lines up on that. I definitely see a heat gun in my future. What we do is we get this guy together first, and then we'll heat curl it when it's all together. Okay? So that is the plan. This is where the registration marks come in handy. I'm gonna line these guys up, pinch, line these marks up like that. Let's get that nice tapered edge. We're gonna come down here. It's gonna get a little tricky because I got this foam. The reason I have this foam is to keep this from being too distorted. So we go like this. Now, again, I'm going to pinch this all together, and then I'm going to go back with the heat gun, and the heat gun's going to make this foam relax a little bit, like that. And this goes like this. Wow. See? The gun goes in like this. Oh, that's so awesome. I like everything that looks really good here. Here, it's just it kind of tapers here. So we should just round this off a little bit. And you're probably asking me, how do we go about doing that? Is I have to take this all back apart again. And I can kind of see where I want to go with this. So let's kind of go like this. I'm going to take my Barge thinner that we have right here. I'm just going to drop it back here. You can see where I made the mark. This is where I'm going to taper it. We got this all lined up. Just going to put a little glue on this. Let's go ahead and put this back together again. This is round 2. Yeah, see? A little better. This part right here sticks out. I'm just going to Dremel this down. That's fine. So I'll just come down and Dremel that. That looks good. But a lot of this will go away when I heat form it. We're going to heat this foam up, get it soft, and push the gun back in. They kind of take a natural form of it. But when I'm heating them, make sure I don't heat up the glue edges because the heat will make the glue come apart. So I'm just going to heat up the overall foam here. This looks fantastic. I'm really liking this. We'll definitely heat this and curl this later, but this is coming along. Now I look at this, I was so paranoid of making this holster too tight that you can see I left a lot of foam, and you guys can see right here, I could cut off like literally ½ an inch of foam. So I'm going to take my pattern, line it up. Now again, I'm not going to take this whole thing apart. I'm just going to slip this out. Take my box cutter. All right, there we go. Now, take my gun. Oh, see, that's snug. I like that. That's better. That looks really good. Edge a little sharp. And I'm going to take a Dremel. I'm going to take a stone bit. And I'm just going to bend this back. Just like that. All right, here it is. Of course, you've seen some things have happened a little bit differently while you were gone. I went ahead and put some really thin 2mm foam detail on it to match the holster to look like it did in the anime. And since this holster is made out of leather, I'm gonna take aluminum foil, heat it, and pressed in texture. Of course, I made a video on that. If you guys have not seen that, I have my video on how to make foam look like leather. After I did all that, if you can see, there's a little bit of a yellow tinge to it. I went ahead and brushed Barge cement all over the holster. And what that does, that really helps the latex, because I'm using Latex 60. Now you can brush Latex 60 onto foam and it'll stick pretty good. Since the gun's going to be going in and out of the holster, a lot of wear and tear is going to happen on this. So I want to make sure this latex sticks really well. I went ahead, mixed up a batch of some Latex 60 with some distilled water, but I'm going to add a little bit of brown paint. I'm going to do like a 50-50 ratio. Gonna add a little bit of rubber to it. And let's start with the inside edge. All right, let's start with the outside. I want to put my hand in here and flip it around to paint it, but I realize I can't because I paint the inside. So I'm gonna get a hair dryer and speed this process a little bit. When I get a hair dryer, I'm gonna have to mute you guys for a little bit. All right, there we got our base coat on there. This is the dark brown, and I ended up doing about 4 thin coats. And if you guys can see now the dark brown's on, you can see the texture on it a lot better. It looks good. Now we're gonna go ahead and get some lighter browns and start making up some different colors. And we're gonna start doing a dry brush to create this to give us more of a leather look. What I like to do is get a piece of cardboard and squirt out the color. I'm going to wet the brush just a little bit, not too much. There we go. This is the raw sienna, which is I think the color earlier was like a good rust color. All right, there it is. I got the colors on it. I'm really happy with this. This looks like leather. Now for the magic moment. There it is. The gun fits in the holster. A little snug. Soften it with Armor All. Is it Armor All Protective? I always find I like to do that with my rubber parts on rubber, so therefore it doesn't wear and tear or tear the gun when you pull it out of the holster. This looks fantastic. I'm really happy with this. Well, everybody, there it is. I made a leather holster. Again, this is like 6mm foam. Again, people ask me a lot of questions if I was gonna make patterns available for holsters. Holsters are actually really simple. If you look at a real gun holster, it's actually leather folded and stitched to make a holster. I did the same technique for this gun, and it's just that simple. So now I have a holster for Leila's gun. That's how I want to be going. Guys, if you're watching this video on YouTube, I do this live on my stream at twitch.tv/EvilTedSmith. I stream Mondays and Tuesdays from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Times, and I stream on Thursdays from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you guys like what I'm doing and want to keep it going, don't forget to subscribe to the video below. Go to my website, eviltedsmith.com, and get on my mailing list. And while you're there, you can do shopping through my Amazon. If you shop through my Amazon links, helps me. And if you're new to cosplay, you want to get into building more, I have numerous patterns. I make really simple, basic patterns. You can get it, you can build, alter it, change it, and make your own costumes. Everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you back next time right here on Evil Ted Live.